Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Midlife Identity. Your home isn't just where you live, it's where your chapter begins. Welcoming you all to this midlife time, the space where we explore turning points that shape who we are and who we are becoming. Today, I'm joined by someone whose work beautifully bridges the inner journey of identity with the outer spaces we call home. It's about creating environments that reflect our values and support us through life's transitions. Kim is also stepping into an exciting new role as a host on American Dream TV, where her conversations continue to inspire people to live life with purpose and clarity. I'm thrilled to welcome Kim to the show to talk about how our homes can become foundations for the lives we want to create and how intentional living can guide us through the thresholds of midlife. Yes, Midlife Identity is a podcast where we speak about various concerns in midlife. It's about rebuilding and reinventing ourselves, our lives, and the mission of Midlife Identity is to empower, to build a legacy. So let us all together welcome Kim to our show today. Hi, Kim. Welcome to Midlife Identity.
Hello, Monica. Thank you so much for having me.
It's been such a pleasure to have you, and of course, the work that you're doing, and the way you speak about how homes is a place where we create intentional living. Can you tell us more about this? What do you exactly mean about intentional living?
So, intentional living to me means really authentically being who you were meant to be and then creating a home environment that supports and expresses that. So, it's not about what everybody else is doing or the latest trend, although some of them are lovely. It's about specifically picking out a home and items in the home and a community and even a geography that best fit who you want to be in your next stage of life. And so that's what intentional living. And as we go through life changes and your home should change as well. And so intentional living is really keeping up with what stage you're in now, perhaps what you weren't not what you were in 10 years ago.
Yeah, so but because I mean, what I also observe is that, what people believe they were way, way back, they believe that they are the same today. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
maybe in person, maybe, and what they connect their outer world, but they do not connect it with their inner world. For
Mm-hmm.
them, it is everything is the same, and they believe we can just go on, and there's no need to change anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you bring about that change where they should feel the need about, yes, they have to change something?
Yes. And so the change can be moving, because I'm a realtor. So oftentimes, if a pain point gets so strong that a person does need to move, but it can also mean repurposing a home or renovating. And so it's not always about moving, and it's certainly not easy to move. It's sort of the final straw when things get, so out of alignment that they're feeling a need to change. And so I just try to guide people about where are they in their life now and what are they feeling in their home that is bringing them discomfort. Like, are they lonely because the kids have all gone off, to school, or they've gotten married and moved away and they don't live nearby or in the home anymore? Are they frustrated as they enter midlife because their career is, perhaps coming to an end and their family's not there? And so their role is changing from a parent to an empty nester, from a worker to a retired person. And so what do they want the next, they might be frustrated with the home that, gosh, I have this huge home and this property and I have to stay here and maintain it, but I have the means and the time now to go travel. And so that could appear as frustration, just the home does not quite fit them anymore. So we evaluate the home in 8 different areas, from career to friends and family and health and finance. And there's 4 more of those particular areas in the wheel of life.
Wow. So it is about associating how life moves. You
Yes,
associate it with the home.
correct.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but then I mean, how does one become aware? Because now when you spoke about kids have married or they've left, for college, or there's an emptiness syndrome.
Hmm.
During the emptiness syndrome, that emptiness is there and people associate it with the emptiness. How would
Hmm.
you put it and, connect it to a home? That yes,
Yes.
the home could also be a part of it, because everybody would believe the children have left. How do you
Right.
understand that it's the home and not the children that I've left. How do you
Well,
associate that?
I think it goes hand in hand because the home just isn't fitting her main purpose or his or her main purpose anymore. So I've talked to many people and they'll say, gosh, I pass my children's rooms and they're exactly the way they left it in high school. And I miss them and I want it to remain that way. But they don't come back. They've moved. They're in another part of the country and they've got a job. Maybe they'll come back one day. But guess what? They're not going to move back home, most likely. I mean, some children's do. Boomerang children, they're very, very common. And sometimes we'll keep our homes just in case they need to come back. I spoke to someone today. Well, they may need to come back. So it might be, another 4 or 5 years. However, the pain that comes with seeing that empty room, it's a longing for a past stage of life. And so maybe what we do is address, like, what are you not doing that you would like to do? For example, hosting a podcast. Could one of those rooms be turned into a podcast room or an office with a podcast desk and all of the equipment that comes with that? Could you even use a corner of the room to fill that void and fulfill yourself with something that you can do now that you couldn't do before because there's a void with the children being gone or the career or whatever it is that you're hitting in midlife? It's a change of seasons. And so does your home reflect a new hobby or something that you want to do now in this stage? Because it's a fallacy that we have our baby and toddlerhood, and then we're children, and then we're teenagers, and then we become adults at 18 or 21 or 25 if you believe in the prefrontal cortex forming at that stage. And then people think, oh, from 26 to 90, we're the same. Like, we don't have any other developments. That's not true. We go through parenthood. We go through having a career and retirement, empty nesting, menopause, changes of life in that way, becoming more sedentary, health issues. So it's not like our life is not going to change from 20, let's say 100. There are going to be many, many iterations. And does your home change with your life change? And so in some cases, you need to modify your home or change your entire home or geography to better your life. Because staying stuck where you were when you were 35 is not going to suit you when you're 65.
Right.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Wow, I really totally agree. And honestly, yes, many a times, I think most of the times, it's very difficult for people to move
Yeah,
from where they
it's very
are.
hard. It's one of
Very,
the top 3 stressors of your life, actually.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the comfort of where you are and, the warmth, the comfort of what you feel. So something different, getting out of your comfort zone is
Mm-hmm.
extremely challenging. So what is the biggest challenge in this that you must have faced in wanting people to
Yeah.
change or take one step forward?
The hardest thing is helping them realize what's next. They know the home's not quite, they can explain exactly how the home's not fitting them anymore, but what they can't explain is what would make it better and what is next. And in one case with someone I spoke with last week, they explained to their children, like, we know the house is too big, you guys don't live here anymore, we're going to sell it. And the children had a fit and they were just, no, you can't, it's our family home. But they weren't coming back. They admitted they weren't coming back. And I said, well, here's the thing, you haven't explained to them what's next. What is the benefit of where you're going next? So you've got your family home, we're in their high school district, some of their parents might still live nearby. But I have a friend who moved out of their family home where the kids all went to high school and moved more towards this cute little town we live near with restaurants and concerts and festivals and art shows. And so now the big thrill for the kids is we're going back to mom and dad's because there's a festival and so is playing in a concert and we can walk there. So it's like they didn't have that in their old swim and tennis neighborhood where the bus came, but now they have this and they're going to build a pool. And so there's like a more thrilling chapter in the family's life to where the kids now come more often. So much so that one of the children, grown children, he's a lawyer now, recently said it was coming up on their year anniversary. And he said, gosh, I feel like you've lived here forever. It's just perfect. So he's not lamenting the old home is gone with his old bedroom. And now he's got a fancy new bedroom that's actually a guest bedroom and there's room for everybody. it's just, it's like everybody's got a new place, but everyone's still welcome in their new adult form.
So
Yeah,
actually, so that is what life is all about, transitions.
it
But
is.
we are not always ready to face the
I
transitions, and
agree.
I think that's where the hurdles come. And
Yes.
when you speak about, addressing the wheel of life, what do they want at each stage of life? Like as you
Mm-hmm.
said, 30s, maybe the closer proximity to the workplace, or
Yes.
for children's school, that should be the a priority then. But when
Mm-hmm.
you're 60, maybe you need a community where you can, as you just said, walking to a concert, walking
Mm-hmm.
to restaurants, walking to cafes, where you are
Mm-hmm.
busy, occupied, you meet people. So all
Mm-hmm.
of these things. So how do you pick and choose what is their priority, or what is it that they would want while adapting their home to their new life? And how
Yes.
how do you go about that?
Well, really, it's all about the homeowner's priorities. It's their priorities. So the 8 areas are finance, health, environment, career, romance, fun and leisure, spirituality, and family and friends. And so of those 8 areas, what is scoring the lowest right now? And there's an assessment where you can go through all the questions and score your current home. And if it scores like a 2 or a 3, then you probably need to fix something in some way. And it could be that it's just you've done all this for the children. You've lived in the school district, but it's a little busier. I've talked to 2 people recently. It's a little busier than they would like. I spoke to someone yesterday. She said, we're living here because it's the best school system in this particular area of the coast of Georgia. She said, but I'm a beach person. I'm really not as close to the beach as I would like to be, but in 5 years we can move closer. I said, well, start going to look. Do a little Airbnb in some little towns where you think you might want to live, and start to dream about what life would look like when the kids go off to school, or one was joining the armed forces. And I said, just start to imagine what that would look like. It's not that long. It's 5 years away, and so the priority for them was environment. They wanted to be at a beach environment where they could ride their bikes to the beach. And they needed certain things in their home. And we talked about why that wasn't working. Some people who have raised, I have a client who's also a family member who recently moved out to the country where the schools aren't quite as good, but the kids are gone. And now they have a 100-year-old barn, and they garden, and
Wow.
they have friends and family over because they have a lot of acreage. They have what they just get. They get a goat. They got some chickens, and they have 2
Okay.
dogs, and like lots of room to roam. And so they love animals and gardening, and they couldn't do that in their subdivision.
So they can live their dream life, actually.
They're living their dream life because they have the monetary means. They don't have to worry about commuting into the city, and they don't have to worry about they're mostly retired, children are gone. And so midlife can be the next chapter for you to do the things you've always wanted to do but couldn't do because you did everything for your children and your career.
Yeah, I mean, your 20s, 30s, I think 40s just go by building
They
life.
do. You're doing,
And
doing, doing.
yeah, and then yes, midlife hits. And actually, you know what? If you, as you said, if you align your living with
Mm-hmm.
your passion, with your purpose, with your what you've dreamt of, I
Mm-hmm.
think one can actually live a very good and healthy life that makes you happy.
Yeah.
So one
Yes.
part which you said about spirituality,
Yes.
so that I think automatically connects with it, because you're going to be happy. That's for sure, because it is aligning with your needs, with what your heart or your soul is wanting to do.
That's right.
So, so I think it is all about, just giving back somewhere to the world where you are
Mhm.
happy. Because if
Yeah.
you are happy, you spread, a good vibe around you, it adds
Yes.
to where you are. So, I mean, when you talk about spirituality, because when you spoke about all the areas and you were talking about spirituality, so I was just trying to understand how
Mm-hmm.
does spirituality come into it. So I just added up for it to be maybe happy. Can you
Mm-hmm.
put it more about spirituality? How do you add that?
Yes, and spirituality is surprising how often it comes up. And you would think it would be, I base everything on Maslow's hierarchy. So you're either
Right.
solving a physiological need or a safety need or belonging in love, esteem. You would think spirituality would only be up towards the top, like when you're reaching self-actualization. But spirituality can be a very important part that people don't realize. Many United States is decreasing in happiness, globally ranking decreasing every year because we're not connected to community anymore. We're not slowing down and looking inside of ourselves and maybe believing or aligning with something that's bigger than just us. And I think that's missing in a lot of people's lives. And so how do you make room for that in your home or community? It can be very obvious. Spirituality can be at the top of people's priorities. For example, some folks have to walk to temple, I think you would call it. And so
Yes.
they need to be within a walkable distance. That's a very high priority. I see them quite often where I grew up. There's a temple in a wonderful Zabin Park there. And so you see lots of I love it. Like I'm about to cry because I just love it so much. Always walking together to their community and to their place of worship. Even if that, I have a church down the street that I go to. I like two churches within walking distance of me. And I think that's really neat. I just stop in and pray sometimes on my walk. I'm like, I'm just going to go pray today and say just kind of align my thoughts with my walking meditation. So I have a route that I can do that. I have a Zen den across the way where I practice my yoga. And and so in a garden, and grass in the front yard where I can take off my shoes and ground my feet. And so if you don't realize you're lacking it until you're stressed out and unhappy. And so finding those spiritual elements brings more happiness. And if you don't do it, you can actually get ill from not having that groundedness in your life because your anxiety or your cortisol, all of those hormones in your body, especially in midlife. I don't have to tell a lot of your listeners, if you don't sleep well, if you don't have peace in a restful bedroom, if there's stress and anxiety, you just get completely out of whack. So spirituality is a way to cure that.
Yeah. So when you said spirituality, as you spoke about all these different, all the elements about the temple, the church, your yoga center, grounding, walking, all of this, definitely it helps. So it is, again, for me, what I personally believe is that if you are in a place where you feel you belong, it aligns with your needs, it is automatically you're connected with your soul.
Yes. Oh, I
You
love
are
this.
you are connected because of the happiness first. If you're if you're gardening, gives you so much of peace, so much of happiness, so much of fulfillment. Or as you said, one corner you keep for your podcast, which I do all the time.
Yes.
So that gives me my happiness. So all this is spirituality where and you are connected to your soul in whichever way you connect. It's up
Yeah.
to us entirely. And in midlife, where we definitely have more time on hand because everything is slowing down slowly, your responsibilities have reduced, you're slowing down and you've started looking back at yourself, which earlier we did not have the time to look at ourselves. It was like, home, work, kids, everything was just, it was a running machine. Now this machine is actually slowing down and has started looking at the different parts which have to be looked into, looked after, and taken care of. So when you align your home, which I love this concept, what you said, aligning your home with your needs based on your wheel of life or the Maslow's hierarchy rule, whatever as you just spoke about. I think this is all that actually takes you to your passion, your purpose, you're living. That's it. You just live a beautiful life. The rest, maybe you have 20, 30, whatever years are there where you invest in yourself. And that's what midlife is all about, investing and rebuilding yourself along with your home. Wow. I'm feeling really how, just putting it all together is just making me feel the importance of actually looking at your home as well in midlife. Honestly speaking, I have to admit, I had never thought so.
Yeah.
I had not connected home and midlife together, honestly.
And home as a representation of your soul. If you could look at it that way, if your home a representation of your highest self, because your environment affects who you are. And so if there's no space for you to be creative or part of a community or spiritual, then those pieces of your soul remain undeveloped. And what a waste. We only have one life, right? So have your home as your container for your best self.
Wow. You said that beautifully. I'm just, absorbing all the words that you said because so well you said, that we are wasting our life if we do not fulfill all the creativity and align the environment and everything to be who we are. And
Yes.
that's our home. And that's our home. That's our soul. That reflects us. And a home always reflects a person who is living in that home. It's a projection of who you are. Because
Hmm.
honestly, if you would see a home which is like, totally spotless and clean, you may wonder, is it a perfectionist or is it really an organized person? There's a
Yes.
very thin line between a perfectionist and an organized person. Because, yes, an organized has got a little streak of perfectionism to them. So I think that's my personal thought, my personal opinion.
I think you're right. Overly, let's say, perfectionist person, I think that comes from fear or anxiety, whereas someone who just keeps a lovely home is done with love. They do it because they want the home to be welcoming and pleasing to the eye. And it's almost like they do it as showing their love for the people who are visiting the home. I just went to a home in Alabama, my husband's relatives, and the home was so nicely, it was a modest home, lovely, well built, very beautiful characteristics, but I really noticed how it was lovingly organized and clean and spotless, but not in a perfectionist kind of way. It just felt very welcoming as opposed to, oh my gosh, I don't want to mess it up. Do you know? Like I felt very comfortable there. And I had not been there often, but I just messaged them back and I said, we're going to come more often. I was very, very comfortable in the home.
So
Yeah.
that's the vibe. That's the vibe they create in that.
Yes. Very, yes.
So,
Yes.
and I think many a times when we go somewhere, the vibe is so warm, so welcoming that you
Yes.
just enjoy being in that person's home, being with
Yes.
them, spending time with them. So, I think the vibe also matters a lot. And again, the vibe comes from the energy of the person living in that home.
Absolutely.
So that is how it is. Just tell, I'm actually curious about this, because as I said, home, midlife, alignment, all of this was never, I had never thought of it. And as I'm going, speaking about it and we're delving deeper into it, a lot of questions are arising. It's about, so do you help people? So okay, so let me just rephrase this.
Yes. Yeah.
So when you meet someone who wants to do their home and create a space at a different transitioning, and maybe at 65. So
Hmm.
what is it that you take it out, like as you spoke about the wheel of life, right?
Mm.
You use the spokes of which is the priority.
Hmm.
But then again, how do you lead them to the wheel of life? Maybe there are some people who have been so caught up in their own life that they wouldn't be aware or
Mm.
knowing of what would they want.
Right.
So many a times in our heads it is, oh yeah, I love the beach, but
Mm.
then maybe practically it is not meant for me.
Right.
Maybe I love to have the church close by. Of course, that's a
Hmm.
very nice thing to have. Or any other factors, how would I may not know what I want, because I may
Mm.
want everything, or I'm not sure of what I want, or I don't
Mm.
even know. So how do you draw them towards it, and how do you understand what would they?
Well, the first conversation, and to not overwhelm folks, because there's lots of questions in my book, and it's called Live in Your Wheelhouse. So I do give copies to my clients so they can read it, and other agents have done the same thing. And it does help to go through each of the 8 sections, because they may say, gosh, our finances are changing and the career has changed. And those are the 2 areas we know have changed. But have they thought about the other 6 areas? Well, gosh, I never thought about, like, we might want to get a dog again now that a little dog, that now that the children are gone, or perhaps a spouse has passed and they want a little companion. And so, like, that would fall under family and friends. Right. And so, but maybe they hadn't thought about it yet, so some of the questions are like, are you planning on anyone moving in with you, or are you getting a dog? And are you able to keep up with your home, is sort of the financial part. And so it does go through all of those questions. So I'll give people a copy of the book, or if it's a partnership, a spouse situation, each person a copy, and they can take the assessment themselves. Yeah, but the whole thing starts off with, what are your biggest pain points right now? But let's not forget the other 6 or 7 areas. I
Okay, so
ease people into it.
yeah, because as many a times we don't even think so much,
Yes.
life just takes you through. And then
Yeah, and you're
suddenly,
just busy.
Yeah, and then suddenly when you have to feel it, because when
Hmm.
you actually start feeling, it scares you.
Yes.
It really scares you,
I think
okay.
people are so busy, and then when they do start to slow down, they get overwhelmed, and then the feelings start coming and they're not sure what to do with them. So I think in a way, this assessment also says you don't have to be stuck and you don't have to move. It's not all or nothing. You might be able
Yes.
to make some tweaks. And here are some suggestions to here's option A. You stay where you are, you repurpose a room, and you make the extra bedroom into a podcast room in your office because now you're helping other people with your gifts, right? And that brings you some happiness. Or maybe you add an additional dwelling unit. It's not an
Mhm.
additional accessory dwelling unit, ADU, onto the back. And financially, if it's a financial issue, you might be able to rent that out. And then that you can stay in place and age in place for another several decades while getting the income that you need, because financially things are, as they, for a lot of people right now, they're stretched too thin, or I know I
Yeah.
can't move because I have a great interest rate. So it's really about what is your pain point. Let's start there and let's come up with some options. And then, of course, the subtitle of my book is an empowering guide to stay, go, or reno. And so, if you are going to move, let's still go through the whole assessment and let's get a picture of what the ideal home would look like, and find as many of those pieces in level of priority for you.
I mean, I'm listening to you. I'm just trying to understand it, that when you lead them to it, and
Yeah.
it is again opening up so many of the emotions, so
Mm,
many of the realities which people do not face. So for me, this is even like you're counseling someone,
yeah.
coaching
Yeah.
someone towards the next phase of their life,
Very
right?
much so.
I mean, so when when there's a baby in the house, we make the house very child friendly. You
Yes.
move away all the nice showpieces, the
Yeah.
glassware, all the tables are all empty, so that the baby can, the sockets are locked up. We
That's
do
right.
all of these little things
Lock the
when there's,
cabinets,
yes,
all
all
the things.
because of the baby. So
Yes.
similarly, when we are approaching midlife and the other, part of our lives, we
Hmm.
may not want so many of the things that we have,
Mm,
and but we don't want to let go. We
right.
don't want to face reality. So I think the work that you're doing is also quite a bit of a counseling or a coaching or
Hmm.
helping people to understand the next phase, accept the reality of the next phase of their
Mm.
life, because most of us are not ready to accept it. It's difficult. It
It
is
is.
difficult.
It is. It is. It took me, I just turned 60 last week. And so I think around
We are so well
my lights
aligned.
went out, but I think we're good.
Hello,
Sorry. There was a lightning strike and my lights went out. So I know. Are you there?
I lost you. Yes. Yeah, you were just telling us about your 60th birthday. Congratulations and happy birthday to you.
Thank you. And I hear you had a birthday recently as well. So happy 60th to
Yeah.
you. I feel like, we may not have half of our life left. I don't think I'll live to be 120, but my mom is 89 and doing quite well, still driving and active in her community and her church. And I'm looking forward to the next at least 30 years of being productive and happy and with community and giving back. And so um, I think my biggest thing is to advise people, don't get stuck in your 30s and 40s, and that you have to stay in the same lifestyle or job. And I know so many people our age reinventing themselves. And even if it's a charity, getting involved with a charity and meeting new people. And so the void that's left behind, as you're coming through midlife, and it's just time to transition and fill your life with things that make you happy, because we can still be productive. We do have a lot to offer the younger people with all of our experiences. We can learn new things. I am not cut out to be an electrical engineer, so that's not on my slate to do, but I am very creative. And I think we just really need to recognize how we were made to be. And if we haven't been able to use those skills, there's still time. There are people who wrote their first novels at 70 years old. Um, there's a lot of great examples about things that people have done later in life.
Yeah, I mean, and you're actually inspiring all the viewers and the listeners here that
Yes.
yes, we can do a lot. That's the sad part.
Mm,
So once the life transition happens,
mm,
60, people tend to give up, or they get so caught up in the rut of their old life.
mm,
They don't want to move on, come to the next part, look at the next part again with the same enthusiasm what
mm,
they were in their 20s and 30s. I've seen many of them just lose their enthusiasm at 50s and 60s, especially when they turn around 55, 60.
mm,
Maybe they have worked overtime and they are tired. So they are mentally tired, they may be physically tired, but
mm.
they just give up. They just give up and they
Yeah,
just get into the rut, the mundane. They don't want to just check what life has to offer, the
right.
creative part, and there's so much one can do if you want to do. So this
Yes.
is exactly that's when in my the book that I have written, Journey from I to Me, this is
Mm,
exactly what I speak about: searching for your secret code,
I
which
love it.
is within you. So it's
Yes.
your secret code is within you. You have to unravel it, understand it, and just let it come out of you to be able to enjoy life to the fullest when you have your last whatever years which you have to live. So you cannot just let the mundane just hit you. It should
Mm,
be you taking charge of your life in whichever way. So it is not about how much is what or what position if you are financially or in any other form. It's just that the soul tells you, guides you, and
yeah,
makes you do things which you can spread happiness. And I
absolutely.
think and that's magic, right? So
It
one
is.
step leads to the other, one step
Yes.
leads to the other. So when
Yes.
you talk about aligning your homes, you talk about having home, it's all about transition, understanding, accepting it. Okay, yes, now I am maybe 60, 65, 55, whatever your age is. It's about acceptance,
Mm,
which is very difficult. And I have to admit, look, so when as I turned 62. So then you think, okay, see, we all know there's a countdown, but
yeah.
we're not ready to accept the countdown because
Right.
we're just talking about. So, but then there are certain things which have to be dealt with, and then there is a fear. Oh my God, okay, am I really, really have to make these changes? Do I have to do this? Do I have to move? You want to hold on to everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when you lead them into aligning their homes or moving or transition or accepting the transition, I think you're doing a great service in your
Mm,
own way
mm.
by making them understand and feel the transition. We
Yes.
hear the transition, we know, but do we really feel it? The
Yes.
moment you feel the transition, can you take the action?
Mm.
And that's
Yeah.
what you make them do.
Absolutely. The assessment is meant to provide clarity and structure to events in your life that are going to happen anyway. So we might as well recognize them and maximize the potential for the rest of your life or this next stage of life. Maybe it's just the next 10 years or 15 years, but let's maximize the potential of your living environment and thus your life. Stay, go, or reno isn't just about your home, it's about your life as well. And
Yes.
it's about all of it. And so it's just providing clarity to maximize potential for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly because you have to learn to let go. So, as you said,
Right.
stay, go, reno. So, it's about
Yes.
letting go. It
Yes.
is about letting go. Okay, next phase, move on, enjoy it. So, there's so much of mindset shift along with it. So, you're
Hmm.
doing such great work where they even work on their minds.
Yes,
They have to work
definitely.
on their minds to understand it better, to then work hand in hand with you for creating the new space for themselves,
That's
which
right.
will lead them to joy, which will lead them to abundance, to creativity, to magic, and to a purposeful life full of
Mm,
passion. So you're doing great work in through aligning them and bringing them and making them centered. I think
mhm.
this is what centers you. because I mean this is so when I'm speaking to you also, I mean I'm having so many thoughts in my head. I'm collecting all my thoughts. That's how you would just see me. I'm just thinking and
Yes.
speaking just my words. Where, as I said, it's very easy to say, okay, 60, I have 20 years, I have 25 years, I have 10 years. But do I actually feel that I can transition? Can I move to the next step? I'm not talking about passing on. I'm talking about the next step. What is good for me?
Mm.
Am I
Yeah.
still holding on? So you keep questioning and reflecting. Am I
Mm.
still holding on, or do I let go? So now, suppose if you have a huge home,
Mm.
and as you had just spoken in, in our initial conversation, that kids have left and there's a lot of space, and then it's time for us to maybe go to a smaller home where
Mhm.
it's easier to live, easier
Mm.
to manage,
Mhm.
and space which you don't need so much of it. So are we ready to let go, to come to this next phase?
Mhm.
So that's another challenge by itself. So it's like opening up your heart, opening up your thoughts, opening up so much of your senses, emotions,
Mhm.
and transitioning spiritually also to
Mhm.
understand better, accept life better, navigate life better. I mean, it's a beautiful concept.
It is.
I
And to
feel
live
so.
fully, not just, oh, I have 20, 30 years left, but how rich and full are those going to be? Or are you going to be frustrated or sad or lonely or angry? And so it's really processing those negative emotions and hopefully at least part of them transitioning them into a better, more comfortable way of living, because you can stay stuck for the next 20 or 30 years and be grumpy and achy and tired and frustrated, or you can make a few changes, whatever those are, and improve your life at least in some of the areas so that you have a little more joy and comfort.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then you being a very integral part of this transition or this phase of anyone's life is great service you're doing to people who
Yeah.
actually need to understand.
And this is my mission for the next 20 or 30 years. So this makes me happy. I've figured out that I'm a creative person, so I write. I love to hear people's stories. I'm empathetic and intuitive. That is my personality. That's how I was made. I have a brother who's an engineer and quite lovely, and he would never think of doing this. This is not his thing. He's a woodworker now. He's transitioned into building, not doing code anymore, but to building woodwork, which is I'm not good at that. He's good at that. So now he has a wood shop and his wife has a pottery place and they create things together and it's like a beautiful union of their skills. I'm not
Ab- Yeah,
very mechanical or engineering oriented, so this is what I'm doing and it makes me very happy.
and that's exactly so. I mean, that's the idea of midlife identity, and you
Mm.
also being here and sharing all your thoughts, your feelings is all about searching, going in for happiness, living a happy life.
Mm.
So, as you know, it is up to us. So, how much we let go, how much we change, how much we want to move that step forward and move
Mm.
out of our comfort zones. We get into that rabbit hole which we
Mm.
don't want to come out of.
Mm. We
And
get
that
stuck.
is, yeah, and stuck so badly when the world is such a beautiful place. And I mean, I sometimes do feel sad that when everything is so beautiful around us,
Mm.
why do some people cannot see it? And
Mm.
why they choose to be stuck and not take the next step forward?
Right.
And it's just life is it's passing every day. We
Mhm.
all know it. And to look for more happiness, look for passion, look for fun, look for creativity, look for anything that you do. So it could even be looking after your home. It's not that you
Mhm.
just step out and work. You
Yeah.
just look after your home, keep your home beautiful of how you want it to be reflected. Just be there for the family, cook for the family, anything that just makes you work from a place from your soul. So how did you come into being this? I have to know that.
So, it was a natural progression, where in my 20s and 30s and 40s through mid-40s, I was kind of doing everything for everybody else. I was working as an accountant when I'm really a creative people person. I had the wrong hobbies. I'm more of an extrovert. Um, so for hobbies, I was riding horses and doing other things, but I'm really a golfer. So I love being outside and being in a small group of people. I love a small group of people where I can go deeper in a conversation, and that golf provides that, along with some physical activity and some nature. Um, and so I found myself in the wrong career, um, a lot of misaligned things. So right around 45, I started to change things, by first my career, and then my hobbies, and then my home, and my life is completely different now. But along the way, I had a coach that used the wheel of life for me to evaluate each of those 8 areas, and some were lower. And then as I switched careers, things would move around, and like finance went down for a moment, but then it went way up because I was actually doing what I was supposed to be doing with an unlimited income potential, and it was a good fit for me. So, and friends and family, it was an empty nester, and kids were away at college, so that went up and down. And then my little dog passed, so I noticed these things going up and down. And then I was moving a little bit during this season of change to fit my life better. And now that I'm through that season of change, I'm in a cottage that fits me perfectly with my new spouse. Um, and it's just all aligning very well. So as I went through this process, I kept referring back to the wheel of life with my clients as to, oh, this is a career finance move, or this is a family entertainment move because the kids are gone and they're bored. So what are we going to do? We're going to go out to dinner and start going to concerts, and let's get close to all of that. So I just started categorizing people, and that's how I started the system of live in your wheelhouse.
Wow. And what do have people have to say when you go with this concept to them?
They love it. At first, they're like, gosh, I had never thought of that. I'd never thought
Exactly.
it's just a house, or it's just, because it's like, I love the quartz countertops, and we need 4 bedrooms, and this is our budget. But let's go a little deeper to, like, what do you actually want to do in the house? What is it that's missing? Let's go out. Let's make life a little bigger than just what color are your cabinets. And let's go to, like, do you cook a lot? Do you want people in the kitchen with you? Let's talk about the function in each room.
So it's, as I said earlier as well, so it's like being a counselor, a coach,
Yes.
walking people through their lives, through their needs, and prioritizing their needs and adapting it to their day-to-day living.
Yes.
It's the same thing, right? You're actually walking them through all of this to understand themselves better. So it
Yeah.
is a work of counseling along with making their homes a place where they can reflect themselves and their authentic selves, basically.
Yeah.
Because all the while, I think when we are younger in 20s, 30s, you want the big homes, you invest more, and you want all of that wealth, all of it which you're working towards.
Yes.
But the moment you come to this stage, midlife,
Yes.
things change. Then
It's
you,
about, I
yeah,
think it's about, the change goes from being very us oriented to really differentiating yourself from every, because you kind of have to, having a family and raising a family and building wealth and establishing yourself, you want to be part of a group. But when you hit midlife, I think you're more about, like, I don't really, this sounds awful, but I don't really care what everybody else thinks. I think I just want to be
exactly.
me. I don't even care
Yeah,
anymore. What was I so worried about? And so
yeah, yeah.
my tribe will stay with me. I will attract my people, and so I think it's a little bit liberating if you let yourself not care so much about what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, and I think we need to go through our 20s, 30s, 40s to
Yeah.
get here to understand this better.
And to make
Because,
mistakes. Like, I know
yes,
I don't like
absolutely.
that. I now know I don't like that. So I'll do this.
Yes. And earlier it was whether you like it or not like it, okay, we just go by it.
That's right.
And
We learn by our
now,
mistakes. We learn by
yeah,
what's not aligned with us, and then it narrows down what we're really meant for. And so this is time to pinpoint that and move in that direction. So either your daily and monthly and all your choices align with who you're supposed to be, or they don't.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, actually, at this stage, if we understand what it is to align with your soul self, your authentic self, so
Hmm.
you build that environment because, as in your wheel of life, you said environment matters.
Yes,
Environment definitely leads you to where you want to be because
absolutely.
it plays, according to me, I mean, that's what I believe. Environment plays a very important role
Hmm.
in all of what you want to achieve.
Yes.
It makes a big difference. I mean, for me, especially if, like, if you're on a vacation and if you really have that kind of an environment, which is a very busy street, and you want a vacation to be laid back, it doesn't work, it doesn't align. So any environment has to be what you feel from within. That
Mm.
matters a lot. And environment shapes your personality, shapes who you are, what you are about, and what you're going to project. So, I mean, that is what I believe it plays a very important role. One of the, maybe now I'm learning more from you.
Mm.
We have many more other spokes on the wheel which do play an important part as well. And it is a beautiful thing, and it has got me thinking about actually what I would want. So, I had done a podcast with someone who talks about paradise in retirement. So,
Mm.
in retirement, what are you look? One person is looking at. So, you start building your money right now. If you want to move cities, you want to stay in Mexico. She speaks about now she's in Mexico. By
Hmm.
the side, she has bought a house. So, how she aligned all her thoughts with what she wanted and then putting into action. And now she's a coach, a retirement coach. So, how
Oh,
do you lead your life? So, it
yeah.
was a beautiful conversation where I learned from her where we don't put too much of thought. We
Mm.
just go by the flow. Okay, where life will take us, we'll take it on. We'll
Hmm.
see, we'll see, we'll see. That's what we do. It's
Mm.
okay. We look at it later. We look at it. It's not, we're not ever always ready.
Mm. That's.
And that is the thing which holds us back, keeps us stuck.
Mm.
And then there is a frustration or maybe a thought, I wish I had done that. Or I want to be there, but I'm here.
Mm.
Why am I here? I'm not ready to accept it, knowingly that I did not move my cheese. I,
Mm.
I've read that book. I must have
Yeah.
read it umpteen number of times.
Yeah.
And it brings me back every time that you have to move your cheese to go
Mm.
where you want to go.
Yes.
So I think you're doing great work. What message? What do you want to tell our viewers? Should they look into in midlife? What should they think about? What should be their thought process? Just share your thoughts and feelings with all
Yeah.
the audience.
I think it's just about taking inventory of a couple of questions, two or three questions. The first one is what did you like to do when you were younger? And like think back to what made you happy. I used to like to write, and I'd like to be outside. I would like swing from ropes on trees, and I was like a tomboy, right?
Oh, wow.
And so, but that I kind of lost that along the way. That that being outdoors and the freedom and having my feet, and I would run without shoes, and um, it was super fun. Like I really enjoyed that freedom. So that disappeared with the busyness of being a mom and a pre midlife person. So one is what did you like to do when you were younger that you're no longer doing? So leading into what are you doing that you don't want to be doing? And how can you eliminate that from your life? So, what are you doing that you don't want to be doing? And what do you want to do that you're not doing? So, what are you filling your life with? And just kind of take an inventory of what your days and weeks and months and years are full of. For one, volunteered for decades in the schools and, almost like a job, but I didn't get paid. And I got to a certain point where I thought, I'm not going to volunteer as much anymore. I'm not going to actually get paid for the work, the, 20, 30, 40 hours of work that I do. And that
Mhm.
changed it was so liberating for me. So it wasn't that I didn't want to contribute. I just wanted is the financial piece. I thought I want to get paid going forward for the work that I do. And so it's just a mind shift of what do you feel is not adding to your life and how can you change that.
Yeah, so as you rightly said, eliminating, moving, questioning,
Hmm.
and having the faith and confidence in the choices you make.
Yes.
That matters a lot, because like when you said, you decided that yes, you wanted to serve. It was not that you did not want to, but you had your priorities set, that yes, I should be able. You had the confidence to think that fine, this is not what I am looking at, I can move away from it. So
Mm-hmm.
when you have the faith and confidence in yourself, only then can you take the step. But when you start questioning yourself, you cannot take the step by itself,
Mm-hmm.
because you're doubting your thoughts. You're guilty. Your guilt,
Mm-hmm.
the guilt eats you up, or the doubts eat you up, and then your self worth, you question your self worth. So I think again, so everything goes hand in hand. You have the confidence, you have the faith, you believe in yourself, and understand truly what you want
Mm-hmm.
and what you don't want.
Mm.
That leads you to exactly, uh, where you want to be.
Yes. Very well
Because
said.
if I feel guilty, if I am my self-worth, I start questioning,
Mm.
obviously I cannot move. Then you keep doing the same thing, so your patterns do not ever change. They are
Mm.
where they are. So wow. So through making a home, helping people is the beautiful thing that you are doing, which I've been only thinking about it, and I'm looking around my house. Okay, now what?
You don't have to move. You can just tweak a few things.
Yes. So
Bring
I mean,
bring things out that bring you joy. That you like. It's like, why is this in a box? We should enjoy this. What? Let's burn the
yes.
candles. Let's not keep them pristine. They're meant to be used,
Yeah.
right?
So actually, yes. Honestly speaking, my personality is such that I enjoy my home. Touch
Yes.
wood, I just enjoy my home always. So it's like for me, even just keeping the artifacts and whatever I have around, setting them up and changing the flowers and doing little things give me so much of happiness, and I love doing
Oh,
just
wonderful.
enjoy it. So it's like even just the basic cushions, if you have to just set them or change the colors and keep doing moving around the things in the house. I just enjoy lighting up the candles, as you just said. That's one of
Yes.
the things I enjoy in the evenings. So all those little tweaks which I have fun, which gives me so much of happiness.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, I'm more of, I think, a homely kind of a person, which I
Hmm.
enjoy my home. So if I have to just sit in one corner, read the book, do nothing, I'm more
Yes.
than happy.
Yes.
so it reflects. So now when I'm going to look around my house tomorrow with new eyes,
Yes.
a new look, and then maybe whatever I spoke to you would just all come back, and then I can look at it and let me see what I tweak it, and definitely I'll get back to you. What did I
I would
do
love
about
to.
it?
I would love to hear anyone's tweaks that they make. Like you said, a comfortable corner with a reading nook, I like to call it.
Yes.
I love a reading nook. Yes, it's just I think it's amazing. So if someone if that restores somebody, you definitely need to have a space in your home where you have that respite of quiet reading, maybe near a window with some books close by. I mean, that's just
Yes.
for fills the soul back up.
Yeah, so anything that just takes you in a space of meditative space, which would be anything, just sitting quietly,
Hmm.
reading a nook, any space which gives you that calmness, which
Mm.
just connects you with the universe or connects you with what you believe, a music, whatever calms you, makes you feel
Mhm.
happy, makes you feel at rest, no stress, no anxiousness, nothing. That
Mhm.
kind of space just makes it's like the world. That's the
Yes.
world that is. So that matters a lot.
Yes.
And that's such lovely insights you have given us. And I'm sure everyone, and I would suggest this to all our viewers and listeners, that look around your home after listening to our podcast. Look around your home. See what you can do. What changes can you do? Ask yourself, what are you not letting go? That's where decluttering also comes in, right? People do
Mm.
not want to declutter because they don't want to let go. Memories,
Mm.
yes, they are precious, but certain things you have to move on from as well.
Mm.
So just look around, see what you can change, make the tweaks, the lovely suggestions given by you, Kim. Use the wheel of life, think about it, think more deeply, feel deeply, because still you haven't felt the need or felt that yes, the time has come, I should make the changes, maybe small little changes, as lighting up candles, putting artifacts, let your home look, reflect who you are, reflect your soul. Just make those little changes and live very happily and an abundant life. Yeah.
Mhm.
And Kim, it was such a wonderful conversation with you. It was so nice having you here, and your lovely insights and the coaching and the teachings that you have shared with the viewers, along with of aligning it with your home space, which is very sacred to all of us.
Mm.
Home is a place where you belong. That's what it is. So aligning it with yourself, with your needs, with what you have, and reinventing, rebuilding your personal self along with your home, and matters a lot. And the beautiful tips that you have given, I'm sure, are going to be helpful to all of us. Thank you for enlightening us. Thank you for being on this show.
Thank you.